Malathi, this is just a heart-wrenching story. We're going to get to the legal implications in just a minute, but what happened here?
So this is a story about a young boy who began using this chatbot technology, and he got romantically involved with a chatbot that he created himself, sort of inspired by a character from Game of Thrones. And he got really sort of caught up in this chatbot. His mother says that he began to sort of withdraw from his friends, was having trouble at school, after a few months. And at some point, the parents decided to confiscate his phone. And while looking for the phone, he happened to find his stepfather's gun, which was hidden in their home in compliance with Florida law where the family lived. And he sort of, got his phone, had this last conversation where he was talking about sort of coming home to this chatbot, and then he just sort of took the gun to his head and shot himself. So it's a tragic story, and there is a lawsuit now which the mother has filed against Character.AI, which created this chatbot technology, as well as Google, which has an interesting sort of deal with this AI startup. Yeah. And it sort of brings into question these sort of new deal structures in AI, where technology companies are not really buying these startups outright, but they are, instead of buying the assets, they're sort of investing in these technologies in a very sort of unusual way, where they're hiring the talent and they're just licensing the technology. So there's no real full-blown acquisition here. And right. It's possible that these deals were sort of structured this way because last year with the Biden administration, we saw a crackdown on mergers and acquisitions where, big companies were not allowed to scoop up their smaller rivals. So it's possible that these deals were structured that way, but it's sort of interesting that the lawsuit sort of brings these deals into the spotlight and sort of questions the legality of the sort of relationship between these big tech companies and these smaller startups.
Right. Malathi, Garcia's lawyers say in the complaint that Google in particular contributed financial resources, personnel, intellectual property and AI technology to the design and development of Character.AI's chatbots. We must be clear that both Google and, of course, Character.AI dispute any responsibility in terms of they have come back and certainly stated that Google and Character.AI are completely separate and unrelated companies, so says Google. What has been the response? When do we see it play out, briefly?
So in a few months, we'll have a hearing on the motion to dismiss where Google and Character.AI will try to convince the Florida federal court to actually throw out this case and sort of so that it won't proceed further. So we'll see that play out in a few months. But we've seen what Google and Character.AI have said. They've said they're separate companies, that they're not related to each other. And Google says that it's sort of involvement as an investor, as the mother calls it, or through a cloud services partnership that the both had, or the fact that they had this deal doesn't sort of, implicate it in any way or sort of is sort of tenuously connected to the harm that was caused here. And in a lot of these cases, yes, as we've seen with, say, Autopilot and Tesla too, it's very hard to sort of, connect the harm to the technology. So, this whole question about who's to blame here is sort of a big one and still sort of unraveling in courts when it comes to different technologies. And in this case, AI is coming to the forefront in terms of these new up-and-coming AI technologies that are getting really popular. And, who is to blame when things go wrong and, when there are unexpected turns like this one?